What's going on, boys and girls? Welcome back to another One Punch Man World video. Alright guys, we got some things to talk about today. Now, the game has been pretty stagnant. Obviously, there's no brand new content. I am taking my sweet ass time. I'm level 72 right now, just enjoying the game for what it is, using my Atomic Samurai, trying to get him up. Now, one thing I do want to talk about with the release of Atomic Samurai and obviously the different type of classes for each type of class out there, I want to talk about memory a little bit further and discuss with you guys what you should be aiming for the various different roles in the game. So first off, we know there's a couple roles. Number one, there is going to be a negative crit roll, there's going to be a composure break roll, there's usually a tank roll, and then a full-on DPS roll. So let's talk about a few different things that you want to for sure aim for and prioritize from a memory stat perspective. Okay, so because of the honor of Atomic Samurai coming out, we'll start off with him. First off, he is a composure break character. You guys can see this by simply doing a few different things. You can check out his impression arms, which will show you guys his SSR here actually does do a composure damage. But more importantly, if you go into his actual gameplay section and check out the skill list, you guys can see under the potential, he gains attack equal to 45% of his composure reduction. But not only that, he's also a very good crit and crit damage character. So you want to build him with more composure and also take into consideration a couple of different factors like penetration eye or penetrating eye, mind reader, and of course, raid break. So let's talk about this. Composure breakers. What is the most important stat and trait that you want to go for? So for you, we're going to focus on memory and will. So first off, you want to raise your composure damage as much as you possibly can. Okay, so for these kind of units, you want to look for the special raid break stat, okay, or the trait. So essentially you want to boost this to level 5 as far as you possibly can. Now, if you obviously have them at P2, P3, some of these guys will give you an extra 3 more slots of this. So you can go all the way to level 8, which is insane amount of actual raid break. So you want to push this as your number one goal because they scale off of this with their attack as well too. The more composure damage they have, their attack will also increase based off of that. Now, with that being said, your substat you want to go for them, as always, is going to be composure reduction, attack, and then of course their type of attack. So those are going to be the main ones you want to aim for. Okay, so the number one thing for composure damage units, so whether it's Genos SSR, Zombie Man, or in this case Atomic Samurai, the SRs count as well, like Stinger, you definitely want to go for Ray Break as your number one. Number two, the second one you want to go for, of course, is going to be their mechanism. So in this case, the mechanism here for Atomic Samurai is going to be every time he switches between the two forms, he'll gain himself an additional bonus in damage. Now, this damage usually is going to be the easiest to acquire because you only need 2. If you get the third one, that's a bonus. So this one will take precedence over everything else. So it'll be Raid Break, then the mechanism. So in this case, find the mechanism for this unit, and that's what you want to go for. Okay, if you look at somebody like Respect for the Master here, again, increases damage by 20%, gains 6% damage for 15 seconds every time he switches between them. You're not going to find more damage increase than this with an easy amount of slots taken. So 2 to 3 slots, super easy to get. Focus on this one next, all right? Now, the next one you want to focus on is under the attack, and that's going to be Impassioned. Yes, that's right. Impassioned is too important to give up on because there's no stipulations here. It's a flat attack and a percentage attack increase, which scales off of everything that you do. Your damage scales off of it. Your crit damage scales off of it. Attack is too important to ignore. So for composure break units, this will be your third priority. It's going to be Impassioned. Try to boost this as far as you can. If you get it to level 5, you're in such a good place. It's ridiculous. But if you get it to level 2, 3, etc., it's still a pretty damn good increase from 10% to 25% at level 3. So you want to aim at least minimum this and then push further from there, okay? Try to get this as far as you possibly can. Now, other things that are very important, of course, for the characters, it depends on the characters. So for Atomic Samurai is going to be things like Penetrating Eye, which is a increase in crit rate. His crit rate will obviously give him more weakened marks in some traits. In general, the more crit rate you have, the more crit damage you'll do, and in turn, it'll scale as the highest multiplier in the game for you. So, Impassioned works off of, Mind Reader works off of Impassioned, which is your attack increase, and composure damage, of course, because that increases your attack as well with Atomic Samurai. And then Penetrating Eye allows you to actually do crit, which will scale off of the Mind Reader, which again scales off of Impassioned and other attack stats, right? So these are going to be your most important ones. Now, a couple different ones you can add. So for example, someone like Zombie Man, who's also a Composure Breaker. If you can't get Impassioned leveled up quick enough, this right here at HP 15% max is really good for him because he actually has False Blood, which lets him stay at really low HP and do more damage. So someone like this would work really well for him, but this would be really bad for Atomic Samurai, right? So different units will add different things. Blatant Strike is also another really good one because with Atomic Samurai, you're usually in the front, so only having 2 of these, right, if you can't get enough Penetrating Eye is not a bad thing. So you can get that and on top of this. So if you go 2 and 2 and you're always attacking in the front, you can get a 40% increase in crit rate as long as you're in front of the target. So there's various different things, but ideally the ones I mentioned is what you want to focus on. So there are your raid breakers. Now, what about straight DPS, right? Let's look at Tatsumaki here, right? So for straight DPS, Impassioned is your number 1. That's where you go. You go straight to Impassioned, get this to level 5 as fast as you can. You can see here I'm on level 3 for her. Still working on mine. Penetrating Eye is going to be your next one. The crit matters so much for straight DPS because they most of the time will give you a Penetrating Eye increase. You can see here she goes up to level 6. Or they will give you guys a Mind Reader increase. Some of them will go up to level 5 even, right? Will give you even more crit damage. So these 3 are going to be your main focus of priority. Impassioned, Penetrating Eye, and Mind Reader. It's simple. It's very, very simple. The 4th thing you want to focus on, of course, is easy peasy. Remember, again, this is very easy to accomplish. A 15% damage increase just to be an optimal distance is super, super simple to do. So don't neglect this. It's very important. First Strike is also a really big one for a lot of DPS because it increases your entire party's ultimate damage. Obviously, in this case, it's going to be just you because you're doing the ultimate as the main unit, but don't sleep on this one. This is a big, big boost to damage, especially at like the last little couple seconds that you have to pull off your ultimate. This one will be fantastic. Now, another couple good ones for her that if you guys can't get some of these out of the way is going to be, for example, the let's see, attack here. Where's Range of Truth? Here it is, right? So if you can't get enough of the Penetrating Eye, or if you can get enough, you just want more crit rate increases when remote attack is an optimal distance. So again, remote attacks are range attacks in this case. You can get an extra 20% with just 2 points here. So definitely push that as far as you can. This one's going to be a very, very important one for a lot of you. So you're looking at a very easy build here for a lot of these. Impassion, Penetrating Eye, Mind Reader, Range of Truth for range, of course. And if you're like, for example, if you're like Sonic, right, you want sneak attack instead because he's always attacking from behind. And if you are an attacker who's a full DPS in front, you put on Blatant Strike, and then you can throw in Victory Rush if you want as a composure damage unit as well too. Or if you have a lot of composure damage units in there, this is actually not a bad option to add into this. And this also works really well. Victory Rush also works really well with composure units. Okay, so things to remember. That's a big one there. So full DPS, pretty straightforward. Impassioned, Impassioned, Penetrating Eye, Mind Reader, and your Mechanism. Those are going to be your bread and butter pretty much for the entire duration of the game. Now, let's talk about negative crit damage users, right? So negative crit damage, as we've discussed many times, are a little bit different. The way these guys work is you want to actually go with Impassioned as your number 1 because it doesn't reduce anything else. Impassioned is going to be your main sole focus here on these guys. Now, the second one you want to do is Resolute Rage. Resolute Rage is a flat damage bonus with a reduction of crit rate, but again, as a negative damage or a negative crit rate user, you don't need crit rate, so you're going to reduce that as far as you can and get yourself that 12% damage bonus with 3 points, and also go ahead with Resolute Attack, which is also going to increase to minus or plus 40%. So this with Impassion, guys, you guys can see here, you can get up to a 90+% attack bonus on your units. And then, of course, lastly, you want to put all bullet firing here, or in this case, the Mechanism, to increase that damage even further. You can see here 24% damage increase for someone like Metal Knight. Now, there are other units like Silver Fang that will do different things, and based on his mechanisms, he is also a negative crit user. You may want to focus on something like this under attack, which is a Monolith Duel. Sorry, not Monolith. Actually, Monolith Duel is good for someone like Metal Knight if you want to increase, not Metal Knight, sorry. Tatsumaki, sorry, I forgot to mention this one. For Tatsumaki, if you can stand still for 3 seconds, she gains crit as well too. Forgot to mention that one. Tiger's Might is what I was referring to. So some negative crit damage users, such as Piri Piri and Silver Fang, for example, as tanks, have the option to create a shield with one of their SR arms. This is actually really cool because this also grants a damage bonus when the shield is active, up to 16% damage. So for people like Silver Fang and Piri Piri, having that shield on them can actually boost their damage by having Tiger Might available to them, which is actually a really big damage increase at 16%. So that's very, very important there, guys, as well too. And units like this will also prosper from not Monolith, sorry. Where is it? Turn the tables, is it? No, not turn the table. Sorry, I'm trying to find the one where you, I think it's performance, swift moves. There we go. So acute insight, right? So units like Puri Puri and Iron, for example, will benefit from these, which increases the judgment time for accurate dodge and blocking as well too. So using this is a really good one too. Now keep in mind, first strike can apply for everybody. So this one's up to you on who you want to put it on and how many levels. This will just give everybody, or the main unit in this case, the ultimate increase in their damage, right? So again, resolute or negative crit users, impassioned, resolute rage, resolute attack, their mechanism, and then Tiger Might if you plan to use the tanks. Those are the big ones, okay? And I think that pretty much covers everybody, guys. I don't think there's anything left. Those are the three main roles in the game at the moment, and those are the way to build. So make sure, guys, when you are collecting your memories or you're reforging, you're aiming for those specific traits. Now remember, sub traits are very important as well too. So for DPS, for main DPS, you want to literally go for attack or their type attack. Okay, that's going to be the most important. See all this composure damage? It's useless for her, but the attack is super important. And this one here, for example, should be changed to assault attack for Tatsumaki. But for someone like that's a composure damage unit, you want attack as well, obviously, but you want to build it more with composure as much as you possibly can. You can see all these attacks here are still good, so no problems there. But this defense here should be switched over to composure damage for composure units. All right, and then for negative crit, you can just focus on attack. Just go pure attack and whatever type attack they are, and that will be enough. Unless it's someone like Puri Puri, like a main tank, you want to focus on HP and defense, which scales better for him anyways. All right, guys, this is Payne. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was informative. Let me know what you guys think. Have any comments? Let me know in the comment section. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.